Alright boys and girls, and welcome back to another building video. I would like to introduce to you all the Oxen. A circle shell base with a disguised shooting floor. This base will triumph in offline and online defense, and it wraps up into a nice build cost and upkeep for you. Welcome boys and girls to the tour of the Oxen. Now we're back outside the compound. You can see for once we have some angles outside of compound, which I think is a really good idea for that raid defense, and just checking to make sure anyone could be door camping outside of there. Base is 3 TCs in total. Here is one of them, and of course it's disconnectable, mini tutorial disconnectable. Disconnects like so, and we can reconnect up with a bit of an extra build out, and nice and simple. Walking around, our external is a little bit different, and that's more just so we can get the TC far enough away. But we get some beds in here, which is nice too, and that's the upkeep, and that'll be ×2. Inside here, you can keep a locker, some beds if you need. Probably not a bad idea to have more respawns on this base. And then we can head into our gatehouse. Gatehouse has an extra triangle for a little bit more of an airlock, because we have some more beds in here, plus that window gives some good visibility. And if you skin the door, then you can get a window there too. Into the bedroom, we have some nice Patrico angles looking down and along the funnel, and these are some really nice angles too. And when that furnace is missing and the high walls are missing, this angle will open up even more. Some small boxes to depot loot, and of course the space above as well for drop boxes too. And then opening this door creates a funnel, which is super nice, making it easy to exit out of this door. Nice and safe, and then from there you can choose to walk further around into potential shotgun traps or even a large furnace funnel. Large furnace covers the high wall gap, and turrets watch as you run round through a very nice little section of double chain link there. Quite an annoying turret indeed to deal with, sectioning off that compound and making it nice and safe, and the spots for more turrets above the gatehouse too if you want to throw those down as well. Around here you can just place extra deployables. There's no doors in that area to keep the turret open. Another shotgun trap watches the funnel, and these are our Patricos outside away from the compound. And of course you can get a locker or bed in there too, and seal it up with some glass when you go offline, so nobody's messing around with that bedroom. But those look outside compound, which is super useful. And then we can head into our base, and we do have 2 entrances inside. Single door into a garage, and you can see that opens up into our shell, where we've got a lot of boxes. These boxes might look rather accessible at the moment, but we have 2 vault core loot rooms that are in fact honeycombed from the outside. These loot rooms are far from accessible, and you can throw window glass on them from down below, making them nice and secure. Nice thing about those loot rooms is that they are honeycombed, which is great. Then we can jump up back into a shell and take a further look. And then further around in our shell, there's more space for deployables. Some turrets cover along the long angles, and you can pretty much place in here anything you have space for. If you want extra beds or anything like that, it all works. And the shell's sectioned off between those garage doors, and we have 2 more vault cores around the opposite side. Next, we have a single door that drops into our starter base, and this is quite a tight starter, and it's a good spot for our TC in here. Just wrapping those doors all the way along, and you don't want to store too much crazy loot in here. But that's our little starter base, and TC's tucked in there. Little symmetry issue, we'll ignore that. And then we can hop out the single door and back into our shell, and that gives us some more mobility around here. Jumping into the central kind of area of the base, I wouldn't call this an open core. There's not a crazy amount of boxes. We have 12 boxes in here though. Some respawns and some defenses. 4 turrets look into this area, as you see when we open up all the doors, making the center of the base a dangerous point to push for, and making it easy for you guys to hold it down as well. These windows in the base will help defend you from an online, of course. And then we get into our inner peek down section. The inners have good peaks that look down and around into our shell, covering the jump ups from the door path, and when these walls open up, the angles are even better. And then these low wall sections are perfect for covering the breach. You'll see if that large furnace is missing, and the high walls will watch exactly where raiders are going to enter our compound from, and have a really nasty angle on them. We cover all 4 areas of compound and furnace section here with these peaks, and I think they'll be very effective indeed in an online raid. Apart from that, the inners are nice and stable. Our jump up to the next floor is tucked away, and it's nice and easy to run around past it without the mobility getting in the way, but it's still an easy jump to do, and jumping on this window can give you some angles, but it's mainly just a jump up. But these inners are nice and stable, and everything links up into our mobility. Opening up this garage door and the double door will lead to a bedroom and a wraparound to our roof. Roof comes with a lot of retakes, which is perfect, and we have some hidden boxes in here as well for even more storage. And then we get these nice head glitches that look down towards our external TC, just to make sure no one is messing around out there. Opening up the garage door is going to take us to a new funnel peak once again. And I like making these funnel peaks because you get really cool and interesting angles. And you can see this is quite a tight angle indeed. And from the outside, it doesn't even really look like it's part of shooting floor or any kind of defense, and you would expect to get shot from this gap. Not a fun fight if you're down below. And back up top, we can head around, checking out this other peak here, again looking at the external TC, which is super nice, and another retake for roof, so we can never lose up top. Opening the door, you can see a turret that watches directly into that door path, and we've got some nice head glitch peaks down below, and they wrap around because of course the base is symmetrical. 2 turrets cover our entire roof, which is wonderful, and we've got more peak downs all the way up and around here, leaving space for minicopter in the center, of course. Overall, roof looks pretty simplistic, and it looks pretty cool too. Windmills are nice and accessible, and you can put your batteries down below. Dropping out of here is our waterfall, and that's a fast way out of our roof and down into compound, in case we need to seal up some high walls, or just exit our base from above. Overall, that's the Oxen, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. Next, let's take a look at our build cost. On screen is the total build cost. Second up is the build cost in box amounts to make it easier to visualize. And lastly is the total upkeep spread between 3 TCs, the main TC having the majority of that upkeep. Now, let's jump onto the tutorial. Thanks for watching. Alright, let's go ahead and start off with a circle footprint. Quite a tight starter in the beginning, but once you expand out to that shell, it's going to be nice, easy boxes. Of course, remember that single door is a half height up, because our shell is a half height up. That's pretty much the only room for error on this starter base. Maximum door path for that TC, and place it decently close to the single door just to make life easy accessing that. But it's going to be rough getting multiple teammates pressing E on that in the beginning, and that'll encourage you boys to farm up at the start and get yourselves expanded out of that starter. You will need to honeycomb this as well, because it is self-sidable from the top, so keep that in mind too. And now that our starter is sealed up, let's listen, and thanks for watching. Now the starter is finished up, we can go ahead and wrap all the way around our starter base, completing that entire hexagon, square triangle, all the way around until we're back where we started. Once we've done that, everything can be upgraded, and we're going to honeycomb only the squares. So each square is going to get a triangle off of it, and that's going to go all the way around too. Once you've done that, we will work on our entrances. There are 2 of them in total, and we do a little funnel in front, and that's where our main turret goes if you remember. So just building out as I do, like this, to get that funneled triangle in, giving us the double chain link turret, and then the bedrooms come off of there eventually too. Right now that funnel section is decaying, that's the connection there, the frame plus the entrance to the base, we'll link it all up. And that's our airlock in. And we'll make sure we're directly opposite that. Try not to get bamboozled when you're working with this footprint, because at the moment it does all look very similar. That needs to be directly opposite each other. Don't be making any little silly mistakes there, so just double check your footing. That's the connection again, getting that frame down and the airlock, and then it's going to connect. No more decaying foundations. Once you've done that, we'll finish off the airlock, and then we can take a look at getting some more boxes in the space. We'll go ahead and start walling off our loot rooms, and we don't need to honeycomb them as of yet. And we'll get these vault cores down early on, which is good for us. Low walls go in there so we can still access the window glass, because for some reason you can't place windows from above on a half height. Face punch if you don't mind giving that a little fix, that'd be sound. But there we go, we're going to add in the ramps there after our window to make life easier, or else you need to upgrade them to metal. And you can bring the half walls through, and you should have half walls from your starter, so that gives you an easier job. And then from there, triangle goes into the vault score, and you do the same on the opposite side, and you can place all 4 boxes after the loot room's built. The placement might be a little bit messy though, but all 4 go in. They might be squint, so if you're a perfectionist, you're not going to love that, and you might want to do the boxes first, but you can do it in any order. It's up to you. And from there, we get a couple of extra doors in here as well to make that airlock a little bit stronger. And we're trying to work around these soft sides here by adding in half walls to make sure that the room is as hard as possible to access in our sort of open core, a layer above this. Probably armor that up as well. Then from there, just seal it on the back, and we're looking pretty good. Add some walls on the left and right. Careful not to get too excited and start spamming walls, because we do have on this level the half wall, low wall sections that give us our shooting floor. Once you've done what we just did there, we're going to do that on the exact opposite sides. And just everything exactly the same, nice and symmetrical. Right, now we're all caught up. We're back on top in the middle of the base, and we're creating our ankle bite slash jump up into our openish core. We're honeycombing in front of the loot rooms down the bottom and leaving space for 4 boxes, 2 on each side. And then we can go from there. Extra triangle, that's just pure honeycombing in between the 2 vault cores. We're going to seal that up so we can work on this level. Easy peasy. Sort that out. And then from there, it's onto the shooting floor part. We can add in the honeycombing because we do need to bring up some frames. So go ahead and comb those vault core loot rooms. Easy peasy. Add in the frames and then half wall, low wall. And that creates our shooting floor. And I like this shooting floor a lot because it's not that obvious that you have a shooting floor from the outside. Could entice an online raid, could make people underestimate the base, which is what we want. Adding in those floors there, and then we wrap around with triangles, mismatching the floors from the foundations below, and that's going to give us the angles. Pretty stable as it attaches to main base on 2 separate sides, so all of the triangles are working together to keep each other up, giving us a decent bit of stability. So I like how that one works too. And then we're just mimicking the shooting floor as it wraps around, and it's coming together quite nice. At this stage in the base, we're not ready to utilize all of the peaks, but that's okay. Again, encouraging you boys to rush through it. Once we've secured this area though, we're going to work back on compound, because compound is key. I like to get that down as early as possible. And some externals too. Alright, we're back out in compound now. Let's get these bedrooms down, because those are good. We do like bedrooms early game. And the patricos on these are super useful for these early game raids that could potentially be happening. These ones that I'm building right now are going to be perfect for anyone that may decide to raid you early on. Go ahead and add in these bedrooms. Half wall there for the funnel. And then you get the frame for the chain link on top. And of course that turret's going to go right in the center. Finish off those bedrooms. Get your embrasures on there. Make that patrico nice and tight like I had it in the tour. These are temporary frames there just to hold up the door frames so we can get that double chain link on. And you can actually place the turret on top of a singular frame as long as it's not stone. Stone really be messing everything up, so just upgrade it to metal or one of the skin sets. You can place that turret right at the back. Less frames means less angles blocked, so that's why we left all that out. We don't need any frames there, we can leave it all wood. Chain link's 1 rocket anyway, or even less than that. So you can leave it wood to save some cost if you want on that. And that's the reason why we're leaving out any frames in this position and we're letting them hang, is we do not want any angles blocked from our turret, if we can afford it. And that's the way we set it up there. Again, turret's going on that singular frame in the center, needs to be metal or a stone skin set to get that placed down. And then you finish off all these bedrooms, and then I'll let you know when we're back. Alright, onto the 2 opposite sides of the base now that we have not been working on yet. Base is symmetrical by 2. So these are the 2 gap sides. We're doing a 5 square build out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Capping it with the triangle, breaking all of our squares. And we're returning in half moons. You're going to get 2 half moons and then you're going to cap it with a square. You're going to break all the unnecessary build out, leaving us with this wonderful shape here. Then from there, this is our gatehouse / more bedrooms with the patricos, and of course our funnel too. Making sure we do it all right. Window on the right, single door on the left. For symmetry. And from there we'll build our patricos, get the tight angles going. Very nice, very nice. Don't forget this little Dropbox section. Not a massive deal if you do forget it, but it does give you some more storage in what is going to potentially be a bedroom later on. Of course, you do already have beds in compound as well, but more beds can never go wrong. We're sealing the top half of the patrico, 1 to hide some boxes up there, 2 to keep the top half of our head safe, whilst we focus the bottom half of the angle, making it a lot harder to kill us. Now, this is all decaying currently, so let's connect it to an external TC. TC build-out's a little bit odd. We're doing 2 triangles. TC build-out's a little bit odd just so we can get far enough away from main to get that TC in there. Not your most conventional external, but it does give you the opportunity to fit more beds in here if you need be. Maybe giving us some potential for the external beds at least to be out of radius. Might be pushing my luck there a little bit, but if you can have 2 timers, that would be very nice indeed. Throw a TC in there, get your doors on and all that. And for this disconnectable, a little bit annoying, but you've got to do a bit of extra build out for it. Giving it that extra frame to just temporarily hold it up. And then once every building block is placed, they'll hold each other up. Just a couple of extra steps for that disconnectable, but it's not a big deal. And you can demolish all of that and finish off your gatehouse just in case you left any triangles out like I did. And then we can go all the way over to the opposite side and do everything we just did once again. Alright, it is high wall time. The key to high walls is pressing your Alt key. That is the key. You get one wall down, you connect it off of the gatehouse first. Then you Alt look around and you get it placed. Furnace placement could be tricky. Make sure you sit where I did. Make sure you're certain before you left click that you're going to get through. You're better off not having a furnace funnel than blocking it. But ideally, this is what we're looking for. I'd practice that on a build server. If you don't get the placement perfect, it's fine. Large furnaces are soft-sidable, but it's pretty hefty on the low grade if you do mess it up, so no pressure. Very valuable if you succeed. So try to succeed. All I can suggest is practice. There's no trick to this. You just need to get used to the placement and use your eyes and see if you are in position for it. Once compound is wrapped up and done, of course throw barricades on, but that's nice and simple. We're back up in OC, and we're building our loot rooms here. Nice and tall. 3 stacked loot rooms. Very nice, very nice. And we're getting all the triangles in, and you can do your box placement, easy peasy. No demos on that. Window above window, door above door. That's just how we have it for ultimate turret coverage. Remember how we had the turrets set up in the tour? Upgrade that ceiling and you're good to go from there. Jumping around, let's build the shooting floor / inners. Easy step to forget here. Half wall window. Important for roof, so try not to forget. Then we're casing in the peaks. Keeps you a little bit safer in this area. Again, disguising that shooting floor and not really giving it all away. And of course, too many angles can be a bad thing in a shooting floor, and they can wind up being used against you. You want to be able to know what you're exposing yourself to when taking on a peak. So those big bases that are just filled with windows and wide gaps in every section can wind up being more annoying than they're worth to build. And a smaller shooting floor here allows you to know exactly what you're up to, eliminating that potential error and making mistakes in those very essential online raids. Bringing that frame through for our little jump up, very cool, very nice, and then we'll throw a ceiling on top. Now we are matching the foundations below. Only issue with this is we miss out on some doors, however, in favor for some peaks. Adding in that triangle frame, pretty important there, just keeping the stability with the base, as we could be losing out on some potential stability on this level. And then from there, we're up on roof now. We do have a nice roof exit on here that comes with a lot of retakes, because ideally we don't want to be losing this roof. We want people to come in from down below, where we've got a really annoying compound to deal with. So we're going to be trying to avoid letting anybody top down this. Adding in those frames for doors, ceiling up here, bit of a weird seal, but it works. And of course it allows us to get a windmill there too, which is sound. And this is our funnel peak here that we're building now. Get the door frames in. And there we go. Looking good, looking good. We'll wrap around our roof exit now, so you get a bedroom on the right hand side as you jump up, and then your roof exit is on the left. But of course there's windows all the way through for retakes and for Patricos staring directly at our external. It's a common place for people to be hanging around, trying to take cover behind the external, so it's good to have some tight angles on there to secure some fights. And of course it's the same on this side as well. Lots of bedrooms in the space, which is great. Make sure you do take advantage of them. No point building the base if we're not going to get the beds in. So remember to do that. Then from here we have our waterfall section, which is good. Don't forget to add your roofs in there so you can glide down easy peasy. And you get a turret in there as well, which is nice. A couple of triangle roofs, mainly to keep us safe. I wouldn't really utilize them as the peaks. They are more for just blocking line of sight from other people. But of course you can jump up on them if you're used to that standard kind of peak. But try and utilize the windows. Give yourself the advantage in these fights. Hop on the head glitches and try and find who you're aiming for. These tighter angles allow you to isolate players a little bit more. Try and take on some 1v1s. We're not trying to get traded off here. And hopefully the base will allow you to do that. Get one and get out and keep it moving. It's not all targeted at online defense, though. We do have those vault core loot rooms for offlines, which is pretty nice. And finishing off that other waterfall there. If you're upgrading these triangle roofs to stone, you see the issue I'm running into there. I'm going to have to upgrade it to metal because the stone roof now blocks that floor, which is pretty cool. Not sure what the move was there, but they did it. And then of course you've got boxes in the center here as well, and these are decently hidden too. If you're feeling risky, you can put some decent stuff up here and window those off as well. 3 boxes under there, and you can just place that through the window by standing on a small box, and that will give you that height to do that. Don't forget to add that frame in here. That's going to make that angle even tighter down below, so you can match what I had in the tour. And then we got some pretty bog standard kind of low walls here, giving us some nice head glitches too, which is great. If it's looking a little bit open in the middle, that's where our windmill goes, so don't worry, nobody's going to be peeking you from there. That's going to seal that up. And once you guys throw on those windmills, that's going to complete the base design. Hopefully you boys and girls have enjoyed this video. If you did, then please feel free to leave me a like and drop me a comment down below. This base is an absolute bang, and I expect to see you boys building it out there on some servers. Remember to check out howl.gg, and I'll see you all in the next video. See you in a bit.